This episode of Birds and Bats is brought to you by SemoAutomall.com. Wanting to shop for cars, trucks, motorcycles, and more? Do so from the comfort of your home at SemoAutomall.com.
Hi, and welcome to Birds and Bats, the show where we talk about Cardinals baseball. We don't really talk about the Blues, but we support the Blues.
Go Blues.
And then we talk about more Cardinals baseball.
And speaking of more Cardinals baseball, we're going to be reviewing the last two series that we were in, which the first one was with the Reds, which was a complete sweep. Thank you. And the second series with the Nats, which we didn't sweep them, but we did win 2-1. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, those were two really good series, especially we faced Johnny Cueto with the Reds and then Max Scherzer with the Nats, who are, two really good pitchers. We beat both of them, so that was great.
And then we had the crazy game in the middle of the National Series where we almost lost it about halfway through,
we'll get
and then
back
we
to
came
that.
back and got it.
We'll get back to that in a minute, but other exciting news for Cardinal Nation, Matt Carpenter was named NL Player of the Week for last week. And Matt Carpenter, he's been probably, I'd say our best player on the team. I mean, the pitching staff as a whole has been phenomenal, but as offensively, I think Matt Carpenter has just, taken the reins so far.
He's killed it, so far in the series. I really feel like our team is shaping up to be something super interesting. And actually, Carpenter is the one that hit the first home run in the first game with the Reds in the first inning. So that was pretty awesome.
Was it our first game or the last game? That was the last game, I think, right?
No, I thought it was the first game. I don't know. He hit it in one of them, and it was awesome. Either way, home runs everywhere. It was great.
Yeah, there we go. But that was a tough loss that was a tough series in general for the Reds. I mean, I almost felt. No, I don't feel sorry for the Reds. I hate the Reds.
Nobody really, feels sorry for the Reds. Oh, wait, except for one, Bryan Price. He feels sorry for the Reds. And, parental advisory, turn your teenagers away right now. We're about to talk about the Bryan Price rant.
I mean, if you're under the age of 17, you might want to cover your ears for a little bit.
Or, go into a different room where your parents aren't and then watch it yourself. So, actually, okay, so what did you think about that? Because just to debrief everybody, Bryan Price was, having his media talk and he kind of lost it.
I guess the way I understood it, what ticked him off the most was that a reporter for the Reds was on an airplane ride, I guess, back to Cincinnati or maybe to St. Louis or something, where two other Reds players were on the plane with him, and he tweeted that the players for the Reds were on the plane with him, or just tweeted that they were not at the game was the main problem. He let out information that two Reds players weren't at the game, which Bryan Price was really upset about because he thought that other teams not knowing that certain players were there might give the Cardinals or whoever they're playing a slight advantage. And I mean, that's maybe understandable, but what do you think?
Honestly, I can understand why he's upset because, it kind of slightly gives your opponent a leg up. But here's the thing. Media is going to get out. I mean, it's everywhere. It's fans like us that want to know that kind of stuff. It's not anything personal, team against team. This happens with the Cardinals all the time. This happens with every other team all the time. It's not just the Reds that, somebody's leaking information that they're not going to be there because I think his hand hurt or something like that and he couldn't catch, which is why the player wasn't there or wouldn't be there. Oh, no. He had a family issue.
That's right.
That he needed to be with his family with, which is totally fine. I mean, if it's something serious, dude, we're praying for you and everything. But that stuff is going to get out.
Yeah, it's the job of the media to report this information. You can't, you can't call them out for doing their job like that. I mean, maybe you disagree with it, but I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I can see both sides. He definitely overreacted. I mean, you can send out a message via, a tweet or something saying, media, that was jacked up.
When I first read the article, I was like, man, this guy needs to eat a Snickers. I don't know who he is right now, but he's not himself right now when he's hungry.
Ravenous bear is what he was. I think you hit bear status after the 75th F-bomb that you dropped. So he hit it pretty well with 77 different variations of said F-bombs.
Wow. Yeah, I was reading an article about this whole ordeal, about his, profanity spree, and he just, the article mentioned that the way he handled it was totally wrong.
Oh, gosh,
He shouldn't have gone off on the media like that. Even if he disagreed with it, there was better ways to show your frustration or your disagreement than 77 F-bombs in 5 minutes or something like that. Because
Probably a record somewhere, I'm not gonna lie.
The article mentioned that back several years ago, the Cardinals' old manager, Tony La Russa, he was really upset with the local St. Louis newspaper because they had a story that mentioned something really negative or something really bad about the Cubs in that year, and he thought it was a cheap shot at the Cubs, and he didn't want it to sound like the Cardinals themselves, like the players, the coaching staff, were supporting that or had anything to do with that. So what he did was, in his press conference, he decided not to take any questions from the Post-Dispatch that day, because that was his way of showing that he disagreed with what they did. And the article I was reading said, that's the way to go about doing it, is to either, boycott that paper or that journalist, or, do something else to show that you don't disagree. I guess.
I agree with that. I think La Russa, he's just a model figure, I think, for a lot of things. For a decent amount of things.
Yeah.
He's just a very upstanding kind of guy. Especially whenever it came to that kind of stuff. He kind of reminds me of my dad a little bit. He was always very, very steadfast in what he does. Once he talks, people listen to him. He has something to say, and he's very serious about it. And people respect him. Mm-hmm. So I think that just proves that much more of, what kind of great person that he is.
I remember at the Cardinals winter warm-up a couple of years ago, I got the chance to, I guess you could say meet him, and I don't really consider that meeting. I just shook hands and said hi and got his autograph. But I was so intimidated by him, just because I had seen so many press conferences of him where he was just about to, he looked like he wanted to kill everyone, all the reporters. I was so scared talking to him. I could barely get 2 words out to him.
Well, you're a little starstruck.
Yeah, and I was very starstruck.
You're a little starstruck. And I don't know who
he's a Hall of Famer now.
Oh my gosh,
got his number retired. Tony's a legend.
Oh, Tony, are you okay?
Yeah.
You're crack up a little bit. Oh my gosh.
Love Tony.
Tony's great.
Yeah. But anyway, so we had a kind of a little fun thing happen to us earlier this week when we were playing the Nationals. Is that right? We got in our text message.
We were playing
group.
whenever we were playing with the Reds.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Was the first part.
Yeah.
Let me break it down for you. He's really superstitious. Mm-hmm. I try not to be. It happens every once in a while, but he's just beyond superstitious. Yeah. So there we go. Now go ahead.
I can't help it. Well, anyway, we were playing the Reds that day, and in our text message group between me, MacKenzie, and our producer friend, cameraman, Captain Nico, we were, Kenzie sent out a text, and she said, I'm going to say it now, so if it happens, I have proof. But I just have a feeling something's about to happen with this game. Just putting that out there. Something wiggy. And I was like, wiggy? What do you mean by wiggy? And she's like, I'm talking run after run kind of wiggy. Could be completely off base, but I don't know, man. I just feel it. And sure enough, when she says that, I think the game was tied. And we start getting base hit out after base hit. I think we take the lead. Yachty comes up with the bases loaded. Hits a liner into left field, a double that clears the bases. We go up and we beat the Reds, 5-2 that night? Was that right? Or 6-1?
6-1.
Yeah, 6-1 was the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't think I'm psychic. I like to pretend I am. But I get these feelings every once in a while, and typically, it could go one way or another, but typically I'm right with these feelings, and I wanted to let them know because I felt really, really stupid if I didn't say it.
Now, Nico, on the other hand, is
the opposite.
Quite the opposite. Hours. The other day,
Nico, our producer,
he texted us and was wanting, about, doing this show and everything, and he said something about they've been really fun to watch. This was when we were playing the Nationals when we had a 5-0 lead. Right after he said it's been really fun watching the Cardinals lately. 5 runs
from the Nationals. I sent a text back to both of them and said, "You're not excited. Take this back. It's not okay."
Yeah, and so luckily we ended up winning that game 7-5.
Yeah.
So no harm was done, but
and Nico is still living.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, before we wrap it up, I guess I want to give a couple shout outs. I almost said shutout because it's baseball. Get it?
Yeah.
A little pun. But I want to give a shout out to the Poplar Bluff 5th and 6th grade honor choir who sang the national anthem at the Cardinals game last Thursday, I believe, when they were playing the Milwaukee Brewers. We ended up winning the game 4-0. So good job to all those kids. Y'all brought us luck, so we really appreciate that. And I also want to give a shout out to my favorite player of all time, Fernando Tatis, who used to play for the Cardinals. It was 16 years ago today that he hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Now think about that for a minute. 2 grand slams, 1 inning. No one has ever done that before. We'll probably never do it again. That's 8 RBIs in 1 inning. Like, the odds of that happening are just so low. So I want to give out a shout out to him and the Blues who are taking on the Wild right now.
There we go. You can join us anytime that you guys want to at Fox Radio Network. Hashtag Birds and Bats. And before we end this, we need to also shout out one more time to our producer Nico because his birthday was this last week.
Boo!
Yeah.
Shut up! End the show!
Happy birthday, Nico!
Happy birthday. Join us next week.
Deuces.